Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to my Flutter tutorials. And in this video we are going to create another application, and this video is actually mainly focused on beginners, not for advanced developers, because if someone is getting started with Flutter, he might want something to develop. So it's good to develop something to learn a new technology or something. So I have already many tutorials, but because I covered this topic on in Kolkata in a Flutter study jam, I created this application. So many of the viewers, or you can say many of other friends of mine, wanted me to make this video. So I have created this video in Hindi language as well. So go to my channel and check out the Hindi video as well. So this video is totally in English. So this video is actually available in 2 languages. So it took some time for me. So depending on which language you understand, you can continue. So this video is totally focused on creating this Pokemon application. So we'll create a Pokemon app. Let me just show you what kind of application it is and how it will look. So basically it will cover some widgets, and it will also cover a hero animation, and how to fetch data from the API from a server, and how to decode it, and then how to display it and everything. So let me just show you. So this is the kind of application which you will see while I will make this application. So this is a Poke app, and we have some Pokemons here. We have a grid here. Okay, we have Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, and Squirtle, and etc etc. Okay, so these buttons does not do anything, but if you will click on one of these Pokemons, then it will lead you to a detailed screen. And I guess that animation is not working here. I don't know. So there is some issue with this, but let me just show you. If I have this example, once you will click on that, then this kind of screen will appear. Okay, and here you can see, and there will be a hero animation involved while going from that particular list to this screen. Okay, so this is something which we are going to make. Okay, so if you have a little bit understanding of Flutter, then you are good to go. And if you are very new, then I will suggest you to go to this site flutter.io, and then install Flutter according to whatever operating system you have. And sorry for the background noise, I'm totally I don't know what to do with that background noise, but we cannot do actually anything. Okay, so here in Android Studio, what you need to do, if you don't have the Flutter plugin, then go to this plugin section from settings or whatever, and then type here Flutter, and then you will find this plugin and just install it, and then just restart your Android Studio. You will get this option, start a new Flutter project. Then you have 4 options here. The 4th one is the new one, by which you can add Flutter component inside your, I guess, Android app. And then Flutter application is to create Flutter application. Flutter plugin is to expose something which you have created in Android or iOS to Flutter app. So you can publish a plugin for that, like if you have a plugin for accessing the camera or for runtime permission, anything, it can be anything. Then you have Flutter package, when if you create some custom widget which you want to share with the community, then you can use this. So right now we are using this Flutter application. I'll press next. I will give it a name. So let's say Poke app en for English. So because I have same application already. Okay, so then you have to give a project location, description, and just press next. Give your company domain, select or unselect Kotlin or Swift support. If you will select Kotlin support, then you will get Kotlin as a language in your Android code. And if you deselect it, or if you just leave it unselected, then you will get the Java support. And similarly for Swift, if you just ignore this particular check, then you will get Objective-C. If you check it, then you will get Swift support. Just click on finish, give your company domain, and it will create a Flutter project for you. And let me just go out from here. Let's try, yes, this way. Okay, so it will take few seconds to build your project for the first time, and then I guess you are good to go. And just wait for a few seconds, and we will see what's happening. So basically what we will cover, we will see how to create a few UIs. Okay, the main focus is to covering few widgets, and to covering how to do the JSON and all this stuff. So it's totally for beginners. Okay, and if you are intermediate also, you want to check it out, then please do it. Okay, so you have these folders on the left hand side. As you can see, Android folder just for Android code, iOS folder for Android iOS code, live folder where we are going to work, test folder to test our application, which is not for our needs. So let's just delete this folder if you want to delete it, because it's not of our use as of now. Then we have this pubspec.yaml file, which is again necessary, where we have the name of the application description, and here we will add some dependencies or third-party packages if we want to use them. Okay, so this is how it will work. So right now we don't need that. If I will run this application in the debug mode, then you will see what we get out of the box when we create this application using Flutter SDK. And let's just see what we get. So it will take few more seconds to start the Xcode build and everything. So again, if you want to check the Hindi tutorial of this video, then that is also available on my channel, so please check it out, and the link is also in the description. And the source code will also be published on GitHub, so you can check the source code from GitHub. So this is what we get just on your screen. As you can see, we have this counter application where we will it's not there, yeah. So if I will press the plus button, then you can see this counter will increase. So this is not the not like the hello world app or something like that. So let's just delete all the code, because we want to start from this scratch, because I am assuming that you are a beginner. Maybe you have a little bit knowledge, but you are again a beginner. So we are in the main.dart file. I'll just go to this mode, or I can go to presentation mode, whatever you prefer. Then first of all, we will import here material.dart, or sorry, material package. Okay, flutter/material.dart. And if you want, then you can use Cupertino, or so basically it will give you the material components out of the box. So this package is necessary, and let me just go to that mode, that will be much better. Okay, let me just import it again. Then we have something called a void main method. If you remember from Java, then main method is actually the entry point of your application. So as soon as you click on your app icon on the drawer, then this method will be executed. You can understand it like this. Then we have this run app method, where we have to provide an application. So it will take a widget app. Okay, so you can pass a widget app or a material app or a Cupertino app. So I am using material app. Okay, this material app will take some you can see title, home, and there are a lot of stuff. So in the title we can just say poke app. Okay, this title will be shown when you will click on recent apps in your app in your phone. So this title will be shown. Then we have a home property, where we will show our first screen which we want to show. So let's say it's a home page, okay, which we will make after this. Then we have something called a theme, if you want to give it a theme or whatever. So we have a lot of options. We don't want to show anything apart from this. And as you can see, we have this debug banner on the top right of your phone. So if you want to disable it, then you can set debug show check banner as false. Okay, and it will work. Now right now it won't do the hot reload, because we have an error here. We have an error here, this home page error, and we have to create this. So Flutter gives you Flutter gives you these two widgets, stateless widget and a stateful widget. So these widgets are actually, every widget is actually composed of these widgets. Okay, basically every widget you will see is some kind of a stateless or a stateful widget, and it inherits the property of those widgets. So basically we have this stateless and stateful concept. So stateless widgets are those basically which do not change any time. So let's say you have a text where my name is written or your name is written, so your name is not going to change. So that widget can be a stateless widget. Suppose you have a logo, so your logo of your application is not gonna change. Okay, if it is change, if it is gonna change, then maybe it is not supposed to be a stateless widget. So stateless widgets are those widgets which are not going to change ever. And stateful widget are something like a list, where you have your list will have different you can say rows in your list, or different list tiles. Okay, so that is going to change every time you will scroll. Or you can have something like a text field, which is while you are inputting, then that particular text is changing every time. So those widgets are supposed to be the stateful widgets. Okay, so this home page is, right now we will make it a stateless, so we will write this snippet stles, and it will give us a template where we can just make it home page. Now this home page extends this stateless widget, and it is asking to override this build method, which means that there is a build method in this stateless widget as well, but because you are inheriting it, so it is saying that you can give your own build method. Whatever you want to do it inside this particular method. Okay, so here we will have rather than a container, we will have a scaffold. Scaffold is another widget which provides us a structure. Like if you will see this material application, then we have an app bar, a floating action button, something between the app bar and floating action button, and then we have a drawers and all these things. So we will get this in with this scaffold, and so we can check the app bar and we can have this app bar. Okay, and here we can provide a title, so we can just give it a text and we can say Poke app. Okay, and now we can have a background color as well, so we will provide this color as cyan, let's say, because that's what we are having in the screenshot or whatever I shown to you. Okay, so this is what it will look like. Then let me just do a hot reload, so this will restart the app, and as you can see, this is what we are getting. Okay, now we can also have a floating action button, so we will just ask the floating action button class. We don't want anything on pressed, so we don't want to do when someone clicks on that. And then in the child we can have an icon, so we can say we want icons dot let's say icons dot. Okay, and then we can have something like refresh. This will not do anything, just to show you I'm just to show you I'm just writing this code. And then we can have again the background color, let's make it cyan as well. You can also give a proper theme in this material app widget. We have this theme attribute. Okay, so you can give it there. So we have something like this. Now if you want to have a drawer, then you can use this drawer property and then just implement this drawer, and this, or you will have a drawer. Okay, this won't do anything right now, but we are having a drawer now. Okay, now we have a body here where we can have a body. Okay, so let's say in the center we can have as a child a text where we will display something. So let's say hello from Pokemon app. Okay, so we want to display something, so as you can see on the screen we have hello from Pokemon app, and this is how you can use this body part. Okay, now we want to show a list where we want to show, not a list, basically it's a grid where we want to show the Pokemons. Okay, if you remember. So what we can do, basically we need to import, or we need to have these Pokemons using a REST API. Okay, so we need to call to the server from where we will get these Pokemons, and then we will display it. Okay, so that means that our screen is gonna change when we will fetch data from somewhere. It can be any kind of server. Okay, and what's actually happening is we want, as soon as the user enters into the app, we want to fetch that data, then show the screen, or until the data is not shown or data is not available, we want to show the circular indicator in the center of the screen. So that's what we want to do. So to get some properties or some lifecycle methods in which we can fetch the data, we need to convert this stateless widget to a stateful widget, because as I told you that whenever there is some data change or you want to perform some change in your data, like earlier I was showing the as I explained, I wanted to show circular indicator, and then I want to change it with the data. So whenever there is a change, use stateful widget. So I will just convert it to stateful widget using this handy tool by pressing this bell icon, and then it will convert my stateful widget like this. Now my homepage state is actually extending this state class, and now inside this you will get something called init state. Okay, so this init state method will be executed as soon as you will enter this screen before creating the UI part. Okay, and here I can just say fetch data. Okay, fetch data. Okay, and this is good. Now I need to create this method fetch data, and okay, and I'll make it asynchronous. What is the meaning of that? You can watch my video if you don't understand what is asynchronous programming. So I have a video for that, but it actually means that user don't have to wait for that data to get fetched, because it can take some time and you don't want to block the user from using the rest of the things. So let me just explain it like this. So basically what we are going to do, we are going to fetch some data. Okay, we will wait while the data is fetching, and till the time we will show a circular indicator. Okay, so for that we need an HTTP library. Okay, and we get a HTTP package with this Flutter inside it. So this is the package HTTPS dart. We will use this as HTTP. Now using this HTTP variable, we can make get request, post request, whatever request you want. So we need the URL for doing those requests. So we can have a URL, and I have actually that URL here inside my snippets lab. So wait 1 second guys, 1 second. I have this snippets lab, where it is gone. Okay, so I have this snippets lab. I know now. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, so I have this. Now I have copied it and I'll paste this URL here. So this is the URL which we want, from where we will fetch this data. Let me just show you by pasting this URL here in my browser. So as you can see, we get something like this. We have a Pokemon list where we have all the Pokemons with their properties. Okay, like what is the weakness, what is the next evolution, and everything. So we will use this data. Now to actually use this data, we need to actually make a model out of it. So just do one thing, just copy this particular code, go to this JSON.to.dart website and paste this code. Okay, as soon as you will paste this code, you will have this generate dart option. Just click on it and it will give you the whole class. Okay, well, just copy this class and just copy it. Okay, just go back to your code, go to your project, in the lib folder, make a new dart file and name it anything. I name it pokemon.dart. Here just paste this code. So basically what it is doing, it is actually, if you see here, then it is actually having this class auto generated. Let me rename this class because it is not looking good. So just press shift F6 I guess, and just rename it with, let's say, PokeHub. Now there is a class PokeHub which have this list of Pokemon. Now it has a constructor where it is accepting this Pokemon, that it has this from JSON by which it will decode the particular JSON to this key value pair, and then it has two JSON for the encoding purpose. Then in the Pokemon class we have ID, number, and everything. So if you are not familiar with object-oriented programming, then you need to understand that first. And then we have list of items and etc etc. Then we have Pokemons, lot of stuff. Okay, so this is how and then we have a next evolution class where we have a number and a name. Okay, now back to this. We have this we imported this HTTP part. So again, let me just import it because I have auto save enabled, so it just deletes the code which are not used. So here we can use this HTTP, okay, dot get, and because we are making a get request, we need to pass the URL. So we'll pass it, it will give us a response. Okay, so we will save that response here, let's say in a variable res. Okay, now if you will see here, then let's just print this res. Okay, so I will just do a hot restart and we will see something on the logcat. Okay, it's in the debug portion. 1 second, and you can see we got instance of future response. Okay, that means that it is saying that this particular HTTP library implements a future. Okay, which means that this request is gonna take time. Okay, so that is why we are not getting anything out of it. Okay, fine. So for the time we are not getting anything, it's just a waste of time. If we are let's say during this fetch data method, let's print something after that second work. Okay, so what it means, after finishing this fetch data task, I want to do some second work. Okay, so let's just do a hot restart and let's see how this will work. So as you can see, instance of future response and second work. Basically what happened, it could not even get the response from this http.get, and it printed that, but we don't want that. We want the actual response. Okay, so what we will do, we will actually await for it. Okay, so as soon as you get the response, do the remaining work. Okay, so what it means that wait until you get the response, and by that time do whatever other works you have to do. So now if I will do a hot restart, you will say that it will finish first the second work, and then it will give you the instance of response now, not future, because you have already awaited it. Okay, now to get the data, just print response.body, because everything is included in the body. Now if we will do a hot restart again, because this init state will be called only once in the life cycle of your screen or this page, so that is why we need to do a hot restart every time. Now you can see the data, we have this data. Now we need to decode it. For decoding it, what we need to do, we need to import this dart convert library. Okay, and then what we can say here, we can use this JSON decode method, where we will provide this rest.body, and it will decode the JSON to us. And then we can say decoded JSON, let's say. Okay, now what we need to do, we have this PokeHub class which we just created using that particular website JSON to Dart. Now we will use this PokeHub. We need to import this particular, okay, so name is, I guess, capital H. Yeah, so we will use this PokeHub now. One second, PokeHub. Okay, now we will use this PokeHub here, and we will say PokeHub dot from JSON. Okay, we will pass the JSON here, and it will give us the key value pair. So we will pass this decoded JSON here. Okay, and now we have this PokeHub. Okay, now what we want to do here in the body part, okay, if this PokeHub right now it is null, so we want to show this that's just not included. Let's remove this center part and use a grid view here. Okay, so basically if you will see, we have a lot of option with grid view. We are going to use this count one for the first time, and now it takes a cross axis count. So how many rows you want to show in the grid, so how many columns actually. So we want to show 2 columns. Okay, as you remember from the image. If you don't, then check it out. And then we have a children property here, where we will specify all the children's. Okay, so that's the only thing we need to do. Now if you remember here, we have this PokeHub, and inside PokeHub we have something called a Poke list. Okay, so if you will see this PokeHub, then we have this Pokemon list class. Okay, which will give us all the Pokemon list. Then we will map it. Okay, mapping means selecting a particular Pokemon. So we selected this Pokemon, let's say Poke. Now we can create a card on this. Okay, so for every Pokemon this card will be created, and then we will call .toList, because we want a list out of it. So now if we will run it, and as you will see here, okay, we have got some error here. Why we got it? Because let's just do a hot reload, and yeah, this is we are getting this error because we don't have the data yet in this PokeHub. Okay, so if I go to terminal here, let's just go to debug, then you can see then we have some error, tried calling null and everything. Let's do a hot restart just for a few seconds, and you will see this average response is getting me an error. What's the error? Let's see in the console if we have something like that. One second, guys. Okay, so we are getting some error here. Let's try to go, what's the error? Okay, so you can see it is saying double is not a subtype of int. Okay, so basically what is happening, this average response, if we see, this is an integer. So what that particular this particular generate dart did, actually it just saw our first value of this particular, for first Pokemon it was integer, but for other Pokemons it was double as well. So it couldn't figure it out. So we need to do something with this. So we will make it a string so that we can fix it. So similar problem will happen with this spawn chance as well. So we will make it a string as well. Okay, and then here in the JSON part we can just make 2.2 string so that we don't get this double is not a subtype of int error. Now let's do a hot restart again, and now we again got this error which is saying that, let's just see what's the error. Okay, some exception has been thrown where on this cast. Okay, so let's just go to this particular cast here, and it is saying this multipliers is sometimes null. Okay, so that is why this casting is not possible. So we'll just append a question mark here, which means that if it is not null, then only do the casting stuff. So now let's just do a hot restart again. Now if you will see, we don't get that error and we are good to go actually now. Okay, second work is done. So let's just remove this particular portion of the code. Okay, let's do a hot restart, and you can see hot reload. After this hot reload, we have this data here. Okay, now let's give this card a little bit padding. Okay, and let's make it just 2. It looks good. Yeah, it looks fine to me. Now in the card, what we can do as a child, we can have a column. Okay, column means vertically we want some elements. Now it takes again a children which will take a list of widgets. Okay, let's have a container here. Okay, and let's give it a height and width. So height will be, let's say, 100, width will be 100. Now it takes a decoration property where we can have something called box decoration. It will take an image where we can provide a decoration image. Okay, so decoration image will again take an image where we will provide a network image because we want to fetch the image from a network, and we will pass the URL here. So we will ask our poke to give this image. Okay, and that's it. Now if you will see here, then we will get these images. Okay, this looks good. Now below this container we can have another text where we will want to show the name of this particular Pokemon. So we can ask poke.name. Okay, and we will have this Pokemon name. Okay, it is not looking good, so give it some styling and give it some font size probably. So font size we can give 20, let's say, and we can also give it a font weight. Okay, so font weight could be bold, and now it will look much better. Okay, and one more thing, if you want to do, if you want to give some elevation, more elevation to car, then you have this property elevation. So let's give 3.0. then as you can see we have more elevation. Okay, now in the column we can align these elements as main axis alignment dot space evenly, so that they can space evenly, and it is looking much better now. Okay, so this is what we wanted to achieve, and we have achieved it. Okay, and now what I want, if I will click on this card, nothing will happen. So for applying this click functionality, okay, we need to do something with this. Okay, but before that, let's just restart our application. I want to show you something. So as soon as I press the hot restart, you will see we got this error. Why this error is happening? Because as soon as we are fetching the data, we are creating our UI, and because our data takes some time to get fetched, this Poke Hub is remains blank at that time. Okay, it is null. Okay, so what we want, as soon as this Poke Hub is null, we want to show a circular indicator, as I told you, okay, earlier. So what we will do here, in the body we will check if this Poke Hub is equal to null. So in the center, I am using here this conditional operator. So in the center, what I want to do, I want to use a circular progress indicator, and if it is not null, then show the grid view. Okay, now if I will hot reload or just do the hot restart again, and you will see that there is a circular indicator. Okay, and it is fetching, it is just doing this fetching stuff. But right now, as you can see, we are not getting our UI, because by this time we are sure, if we see our console or if we want to print something, we should be sure that our Poke Hub is now available. Okay, let me just do it again, and let's print this Poke Hub. Okay, Poke Hub, let's say .to JSON. Okay, let's just for making sure that we get this data, just do a hot restart again, and as you can see we have the data now, but still our progress bar is still showing. What's the reason behind it? The reason is that whenever we have a data change, To reflect that in the UI, we need to call a method which is setState. Okay, so what it will do, it will basically rebuild your widget tree. It will go to this build method and do the things again. So that's what needed. So when you are using stateful widgets, you whenever you want to perform some data changes, then you need to call this setState method. Okay, so now if I'll just do this setState, then you will have this data. Okay, we are fine. Now we want to show something on the click of this, so we need to perform some click operation. So we will wrap this card using another widget, which can be a inkwell widget or a gesture detector, whatever you want to use. So the main difference is that both will provide you on tap, but this inkwell will give you some splash support. Okay, the material ink support, where you will, when you will click, you can have some ink effect or splash effect. Okay, so that's the main difference, otherwise nothing. So there is an on tap property. What we want to on tap, we want to go to a new screen. Okay, so we don't have any screen yet, so we will make one screen. Okay, so go to your project, in the lib folder, create a new dart file. Let's say name it Pokemon. Okay, one second, Pokemon detail. Okay, detail.dart. Okay, now this is the new file. Here we will do the same thing, import material.dart and blah blah blah. Okay, and then we will have this stateless, because this class is going to be stateless, because we are not going to do any data change. We will pass the Pokemon from that class to this class. Okay, so no data change will be here, so we can just call it poke detail. Okay, and yeah, we are good to go. Now it has this container, so just change this container to a scaffold, where we will have this app bar. Okay, nothing else. Now this poke detail wants a Pokemon. Okay, so we will make a final variable here, Pokemon. We need to import this library Pokemon from this Pokemon.dart class, which we created using that JSON file, and now we can call it Pokemon. Now how we will get this Pokemon? Using the constructor. So we can say poke detail, here we can use this Pokemon. Okay, now we need to pass this Pokemon from this particular main.dart. So on tap, what we are going to use, we are going to use a class navigator, which will help us to push this particular Pokemon to that particular class. So it will take a context. Context is basically the location of the widget in the widget tree, and it will ask for a route. Route is kind of a way. Okay, suppose you have different streets in your area. So this is kind of a street. Okay, so we will say it to go through a material page route, which is a street. Okay, this builder will take a context. Okay, and now you have to give it the address of the home. Okay, so in every street there will be a home, let's say, and we want to give the address. So that address is poke detail. Okay, which we just created. Okay, now it does not understand what this poke detail is, so we need to import this library. Now this poke detail will take a Pokemon. Okay, and we will pass our poke to this. So our poke is the actually Pokemon. So we are done. Okay, so what it is doing, it is taking the navigator, it is pushing it, and we are good to go. Okay, so now if we go to our Pokemon detail, now we have this Pokemon. So let's just click on it and let's see. And as you can see, it is going here, but it is showing nothing. So in this app bar, let's do one thing. Let's have a title, and let's use this text widget and use this Pokemon.name, and let's see if we got the Pokemon or not. So if we just do this, and you got this Pokemon Bulbasaur. If I click on Ivysaur, then I got this Ivysaur. Venusaur, Charmander. Okay, so this is how, that means that we got the Pokemon. Now let's just do a background stuff a little bit. So make this color as, let's say, Kyan again, and it will look good. Okay, now we can also give this background color of this scaffold as colors.kyan. Okay, and it will look good. Now we don't want this elevation, because if you remember from our image, let me just show you once again if I could. One second. And if you see this image here, then it does not have that elevation. Let me just show you again. Okay, this does not have any elevation, so it looks good. Then we have a card on the top of it. Then we have again a Bulbasaur image on the top of it. Okay, so just remember this. So what we will do, we will go to app bar, and we have this property elevation. We will make it 0.0. Okay, now you will see no elevation, and this is looking good. Now we have this body here where we can pass the body widget. So let's make a body widget. Okay, and here we can make this body widget. Okay, and this is right now, let's say it has a blank container. Okay, nothing else. Okay, one more thing guys. So let's go back to main.dart. What we want, we have this card where we have this Bulbasaur. We want to perform a hero animation here. Okay, so what we will do, we will wrap this card again to another widget. Okay, wrap with new widget, which is a hero widget. Hero widget will take a tag which is uniquely identification of the widget where you want to perform some animation. So in the tag you can give it any uniqueness ID. So let's give it the poke.image, because for every Pokemon there will be a different image. So this is how we can assign this hero. Now we need to implement the same hero where we want to perform the animation, let's say in the poke detail class. Now this body widget have this container. Let's replace this with the stack widget. Okay, why stack? Because we want to do some stacking on the top of it. Okay, so just like navigator works, suppose you have a deck of CD compact disc, and you push it one above one and then you pop it. So similarly this stack works. So we have a UI. If you remember this UI, where it is gone, so just forgot about it. We had this UI, this one, where we have a card, then on the top of it we have this icon Bulbasaur. So that's what we want. Okay, so we are using this stack. Okay, this stack takes a children. Now let's have a first children as a container. Okay, where we will have the child as a card. Okay, so let's say if we go here, we have this card, and in the child we can have a column, let's say. Okay, this column will take some children. Now let's have a text where we can say Pokemon dot name, and it should show us the name, and we have this name. Okay, it is looking good. Now we can have another text which will show the height of this Pokemon. So we can just say height. Okay, and then we can use string interpolation by using this dollar and this curly braces, and then we can just say Pokemon dot height. Okay, similarly we can one second guys, similarly we can do one thing. We can give the weight as well. So we'll just replace it with weight. Okay, then we have something called types. So we can use this types. One second. Okay, now we want to show the types, and it has a list of types. Okay, so we will use a row again because we have a list. Okay, and in this row it will again give us some children. So we will ask our Pokemon to give the types, and as you can see this type is a list of string. We will map this and we will get this type here, and then we will use the filter chip. Okay, what it will do, it will give us this label property. Okay, where we can just say we want to show a text, and we will pass the T here, which is the name of the type, and on selected will take a boolean, and we won't do anything here. Okay, and then we will just make it dot to list. Okay, and now it should look good, and you can see we have this type grass and poison. Now we can also use this main axis alignment, and we can just say let's say space evenly, and it should look good. Yeah, it is looking good. Okay, similarly we will have the same thing for weakness. So we can just say weakness. Okay, and we can just copy this code here, and we will just replace this type to weakness. It also takes a list of string. Okay, similarly we can have, if you want, next evolution. So we can say next evolution. Okay, and then we can have this row again here, and then we can just replace this with next evolution. Now it will not take a text, it will take a next evolution. So we can say n, and now we want to show n dot name. Okay, So this is how it will work, and you can see weakness, we have next evolution, Ivasor and Venvasor. Okay, and now if you want to give a color to them, you can give a color. So let's give this row, this filter chip, a color. So it takes another property, it has a background color, where we can just say colors dot, let's say amber, and it will give a color to this. It is looking good. Now this also can take some color, so just name it like red, and these are the weakness. So this looks good. Yeah, just give it some style. Let's say we want to change the color of text to white. 1 second guys, and it looks good, I guess. Yeah, and for the next evolution we can use the color as let's use something like green. Okay, 1 second, green, it looks good. Okay, and we will just use the same style which we used here, and we should be good to go. Okay, we have some problem here, although what's the problem? Okay, this is the problem. Okay, so now it is looking good, and we have next evolution and everything, but we want it to be, so here in the column we will make the main axis alignment to space evenly, and it will distribute it evenly. Okay, now what we want to use this container. Let's just remove this container, we don't want it. We just want to use this card like this. If we show this image again, then this card is from the top, a little bit margin is there, then it has some height and width. So we will use a positioned widget here. Okay, so we will wrap it with another widget, which is a position widget. Okay, what it will do, it will have some properties like from top, what you want, from width and height and everything. So let's give it a height. We will use a media query here to support this screen. Like we can have different resolution screen and with different size. So we want to take the font size. Okay, so how we can get that? We can get that using this media query dot off, and we will pass the context. Then it has this size property, and then we have this height property. Okay, now it is saying that we don't have the context, so we need to pass this context from here. So we will pass this context from here. Now here we need to accept this as well, so we will say build context. Okay, now we have this context. Now if I will refresh it, then you can see we have this height. Now let's divide it by, let's say 1.5, and this height is looking good. Okay, now similarly we will give the width. So we will say context dot size dot width. Okay, and it will take all the space. Now let's just give it -20. It should look good. Now from the left also we can just give it 10 pixels, and it looks good. Okay, now from the top also we want some margin here, so we can just copy this particular portion and multiply it with 0.1, let's say, and we have this margin from here. Now this card can also take a shape. We will provide a rounded corner to this, so rounded rectangular border. It will ask for a border radius, and we can say border radius dot circular, where we can just say, let's say 15 as the border radius, and it will look much cooler. Okay, now it is all fine. Now let's give this Pokemon name some style. So style, let's have this font size maybe. Okay, font size should look good, so let's give it 18. Okay, and font weight, let's make it bold. Okay, this is looking much better now. Yes, now we want a particular image to be shown on the top of it. Okay, so how we can do that? So we have this position widget. If we see here on the top of this position widget, we will use this align widget. Okay, this align widget will take an alignment. We will give this alignment dot top center. Okay, then it takes a child. We will give it a child as a hero because we want to perform animation, and because we gave that tag to Pokemon.image, so same tag we need to give it here. In the child part we will use a container. Okay, where we will have a height. Let's say height is 200. Okay, width of 200. This is the size of the image which we want, Then we have this decoration property where we will pass the box decoration. It will take an image, so we will need to provide the decoration image. Now it will take the network image, and where we will pass the Pokemon dot image. Okay, now just refresh it and you will see this dinosaur, this Bulbasaur, not dinosaur. Okay, now this box decoration another is having another property which is fit. Okay, this decoration image, sorry. Okay, so we have this fit, and we can just say box fit dot cover, so that it can cover the whole portion, and it is looking good now, but it has hidden our content. So what we can do for the time being, just to make it work, we can give it here some sized box height. So we can use this sized box widget where we will give a height, let's say 50, so that we can get a margin on the top, and it should look good. Yeah, it is looking good. Okay, let's give it some more font, 20. Okay, so it is kind of looking good. Let's increase it a little bit, maybe 70, and it is fine. Let's make it 25 or whatever you want. Okay, now this is looking good. Now it should have that animation, so let's see if it has that animation or not. Or what we can do, one more thing, here in the types we can give it a style, let's say text style to font weight, and let's make it bold, because this will look much better if it is bold, these types. Okay, okay, this is looking good. Now same for this particular weakness widget, so this should look good. Same for this evolution, and this is looking much better. Okay, so this is how you will design this. Now let's see if we got the animation or not. Let's just press this back button, which we already got by default, because we are using navigator. Navigator knows that if there is something on the top of it, so it knows that you will want to go back in the future. So let's just press this back, and have you seen this animation? Let me try again, and as you can see we have this hero animation, and it is looking pretty cool. Let's go from Charmander, from Charmeleon, and you can see the types is fire, weakness is water, ground and rock, and next evolution is Charizard. Let's go to Charizard, and we got some error because maybe, oh, it does not have this next evolution stuff, so that is why we got the error. Okay, let's just go to debug portion, let's restart it, and it should work, because Charizard does not have any kind of next evolution, so that won't work. Okay, so this is how, if we go to Squirtle, then it is working fine, water, electricity. So this is how you can create your Pokemon app. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not the subscriber, and also make sure to press this bell icon if you want to get future updates. And don't worry if you don't understand the code exactly, we will cover more other videos and other topics, and we will create more application. And this video is again available in Hindi language as well, you can watch it from there as well. And apart from that, everything is cool. I hope you enjoyed everything. This source code will be available on GitHub. Every link is in the description. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Follow me so that you can get all the updates on time. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care, and keep fluttering.